Today I'm going to be showing you my favorite method of stabilizing the back, neck, and shoulder seams of your handmade knit t-shirts and tank tops so that they will last longer for you. Hi there, my name is Carmen and I am basically just someone who loves to sew her own clothes and loves to show you how to do it too. Like I just mentioned, today I'm going to be showing you my absolute favorite method of stabilizing the back, neck, and shoulder seams of my handmade t-shirts and tank tops. And the reason for doing this is to help your handmade tops to last longer and not get stretched out over time, because those areas get a lot of stretching as you wear them and wash them. It also just gives your t-shirts a really professional looking and beautiful finish that looks really similar to ready-to-wear store-bought t-shirts and tank tops. So let's get into the technique. Alright, so you're going to want to sew in the stabilizer into your top at the point where you have the shoulder seams and the neckband sewn. So the side seams, the hem, and the sleeves or your arm bands are not put on yet. We only have the shoulder seams and the neckband sewn. And I also have a strip of fabric here that I cut to be my stabilizer, and this is just using the same fabric as the rest of my shirt, and I've cut it 1.5 inches wide and about 24 inches long. You just want to make sure that it's long enough to fit across both shoulder seams and the back neckline. Now, this narrow strip of knit fabric can be difficult to work with, especially if you're working with a jersey that really tends to roll like mine does. So if that's the case, you can spray this strip of fabric with spray starch and then iron it, which will stiffen the fabric enough that it won't roll on you, and then the starch will just wash out next time you wash the shirt. Alright, so to get set up, first I'm going to lay my shirt out so that the inside of the shirt is facing up on the table and the front of the shirt is towards one side and the back is towards the other side, so that we can see the stitching around the entire neckline. And I just like to fold up the end of the shirts just so that it's a little bit more out of the way. Alright, so the back of the neckline is what we're going to be working with, so just make sure that you're only doing this on the back and not the front of the neckline. But what we're going to do is grab the strip of fabric, and I'm going to place the raw edge of the strip of fabric underneath the serging along one side of one of the shoulder seams, with the wrong side of the strip of fabric facing up, and then I'm going to fold the other side of the strip of fabric up and over the serging and then pin it in place. Then I'm just going to continue doing this all the way along that shoulder seam. Then I'm going to do the best that I can around the curve. Just try to get it as close to the inside of that curve as you can. And then curve around onto the back neckline, continue around the back neckline, and then out the other shoulder seam. So you're stabilizing the entire shoulder seams and back neckline of the shirt. And we're going to deal with the other raw edge of the strip of fabric later in the next step. And once you finish pinning this whole thing, now is a really good time to add in a tag if you want to add in a tag. You can take out one of the pins right there at the center back and just slip the tag underneath of your folded strip of fabric underneath of the serging and pin the tag in place. And then it will be sewn in when we sew this stabilizing strip in. So now we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to sew right along that folded edge of the stabilizing strip to secure that side in place. Alright, so I now have one side of my stabilizing strip sewn in place, and next what I'm going to do is sew the other side in place. So to do that, I am going to fold the upper edge of the stabilizing strip down towards the inside and then pin it in place to hide the raw edges on the inside of the fold. And then I'm just going to continue folding and pinning all the way down that shoulder seam, across the back neckline, and then out the other shoulder seam. And then, just like we did with the bottom of the strip, I'm just going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew with a regular straight stitch along that top fold of the stabilizing strip to secure it in place. So that is it. The back, neck, and shoulder seams of the shirt are stabilized, and the last thing that you need to do is just trim away the extra fabric that sticks out beyond the shoulder seams. And once you've got that done, then you're just ready to go on to continuing to make your shirt according to the pattern instructions, putting on the sleeves, sewing up the side seams, and everything like that. So I hope that you found this video helpful and that you're able to use this technique to help your own handmade knit tops to last longer.